everyone. It is hot out here today, but thank you again for spending the time out of your day to come and listen to this another Sunday school lesson. So today I am filming at a very special place of mine. It is the local library right here. So this library, I've came here since 2005, so when I was in 5th grade, so it's been like about 14 years, and so a lot of memories when I come back and see this place, and it just makes me smile every time. But anyway, on for this lesson. Last week we talked about how God hears his people, and so you know how the Israelites, they were being put into slavery by the Egyptians because of a new Pharaoh, and they were crying out to God saying, Lord, don't you see that we're in slavery? We need help. We need your help. Please come and save us. And so God actually, he personally knew how they feel and how much pain they were in. And so he was planning a rescue mission, and in this case, he commanded Moses. He found Moses and he commanded him to go and rescue his people. And despite showing him life insurance, which the Lord saved him, from not being killed back in Egypt when he killed that Egyptian. Fire insurance when that burning bush was not consumed by fire, and snake insurance when the staff turned into a snake and then right back to a stick. And so he showed him all these signs and wonders, but Moses was still doubting himself. He was like, no, Lord, is it me that you really want to go? But still God assures Moses that just go do what I say and I will take care of the rest. They will know that I am God. And so that was how Moses was called to rescue the Israelites. And so today we follow Moses to where he was going, or follow up to where he was doing after God commanded him. And so this week's message is called God Frees His People. And so we will go do this step by step. And so if you guys would read Exodus chapter 7, verse 14 through 18. In this one, we figure out that there was a plague going on. The 7 plagues that Moses was there to free the Israelites. We come across the one where he turned the Nile River into blood. And so, how important was the Nile River to the Egyptians? Well, it was their mode of transportation. They used boats. It was their irrigation. They watered crops. It was their water source, and so they drank water from the Nile River. It was their food source. They fished, and a lot of animals came there too, so they hunt as well. And it was their calendars as well. The high tide, low tides, the season of the year, and so it was all that to them. So imagine, just daily lives, going through your daily lives, and then suddenly we run out of gasoline. There's no food in the stores, and the plumbing in your house, the water, the toilets, they all go bad. They're all dirty water. And your phone stops working. How would your life be impacted with all those things going out the window? And so that was exactly how the Egyptians felt as well. Everything, their daily lives, what they knew was gone. And so you might ask, Mike, how is the Nile River important in this case? Why would you bring up the Nile River? Well, the Egyptians worshipped 3 deities related to the Nile River, and when God had caused the Nile River to turn into blood, he in a sense, he tested those gods to the Egyptians. It's like, where are your gods now? It's like, if you worship them so much to help you with all this stuff, why don't they turn it back into water instead of into blood? And so it just proves God's presence and proves that what the Egyptians were worshiping was not really true, and that God was the one true God. And so with Exodus chapter 12, verse 3 through 8, we now figure out going to the last plague, the 10th plague, all right? And so that one was killing the firstborn of everything in Egypt. And so it was God's instructions to Moses and the Israelites in order to be spared from the plague going on. And so we figure out in the same chapter, Exodus chapter 12, verse 12 through 13 and 29 through 32, the Lord came, all right, and he slayed every single firstborn in every household, including the livestock of Egypt. And so it is said in here that every household, there was not a single person who did not lose someone. And so every Egyptian, in this case, every household was crying and mourning, or like at mourning when the Lord came and took the firstborns of their lives. And so with that said, after the 10th plague, Pharaoh finally snapped and he was like, hey, Moses, you did your thing, just take the Israelites and leave now. And so Moses had succeeded in his quest to go and retrieve the Israelites, and God has succeeded in bringing his people out of Egypt. And now to the good part. How does this apply to us, you might say? Well, the thing is, when the Passover lamb, the one with like the instructions where the Lord gave to the Israelites in order to be spared, that says you have to slay a lamb maybe 1 year old and a male and sprinkle the blood on the doorposts, and so that God knows not to go to that family and slay the firstborn. Well, he was not going to spare the Israelites as well. If the Israelite family did not sprinkle the blood of the lamb on the doorposts, then their firstborns will be dead as well. And so they were not spared as well. And you could say, Mike, since God's trying to save them, why not spare them? Well, the thing is, they were not perfect people as well. You know how the Egyptians, they worshipped the Nile, the three gods related to the Nile? The Israelites had idol worship as well. They worshipped other things other than God. They were in desperate need, wanting to get out of Egypt so bad, they might have turned to something else to tickle their fancy while waiting for God. And so who knows, but just in general, we don't live perfect lives, and neither do the Israelites back in the day as well. And so same goes with us. How we lose our focus on God, but then, and we sin. Of course, sin breaks our relationship with God. And so with that matter, God sent Jesus to be the sacrificial lamb for us so that we can be spared from our sins, and so that God will spare us. But like many of us, we harden our hearts like Pharaoh did, and we received God's punishment for that one. And so if we too harden our hearts, we too will receive God's punishment. But thankfully, God loves you so much that he gave his one and only begotten Son, so that whoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life. And so with that said, I conclude this message. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this impacts you in a way. And so just continue living your lives for God, and we don't live perfect lives, but I will pray that you continue your relationship with God and grow more closely in fellowship with him. All right? Thank you so much.